Good day, wonderful and amazing learners. I hope you're fine and I believe that you're ready to learn today. Welcome back to our online speech class. It's great to have you here today. Before we start, please make sure you are comfortable and that you have your writing materials ready with you. In our last session, we focused on a very important building block of speech, and that is the topic stress. Stress and types of stress. How we emphasized certain syllables and words to make our speaking clearer and more natural. Today, we are moving a step further into something just as important and even more exciting. And the topic is rhythm in speech. Rhythm in speech. Okay, so this class is proudly sponsored by Egota Virtual Learning Platform. And here you have with you Tutor Esther Olowo. You're welcome to class today. By the end of today's class, you will be able to identify the concept of rhythm in English. Also, you will be able to define rhythm and identify the elements of rhythm. And lastly, you will be able to talk about the types of rhythm and even identify the practical application of rhythm in everyday life. Let's dive straight into the class. Quickly, let's look back at what we talked about in the last class. We talked about how stress is the emphasis we place on certain syllables in words or certain words in sentences in order to make our meaning clear. Remember, some syllables are stressed while some are unstressed. That is, some syllables are stronger, longer, and louder, while others are softer and quicker. This pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables is not random. It follows a natural and important order in English. Now, here is what's important. Without stress, there is no rhythm. Okay, so you have to understand the concept of stress very well before you can understand the concept of rhythm. Stress creates the beats, and rhythm is the flow of those beats across a sentence. Stress creates the beats, just like in music. Stress creates the beats of our speaking, of our speech, and rhythm is the flow of those beats across a sentence in order to make our communication more effective and meaningful to the listener. Now, think of stress as the individual drum hits. When you hit a drum, the individual drum hits, and rhythm as the music they create when played together. So, if you truly want to understand rhythm, how to make your speech smooth, natural, expressive, and understandable, you first need to have a strong knowledge of stress. You have to know which words to emphasize when you speak. You have to know how to lighten less important words. Remember, we talked about content words and function words. So you have to lighten less important words and how to balance strong and weak sounds in speaking. So today's lesson will build on everything you already know about stress. So as we go along, I encourage you to keep stress in mind because it is the foundation that holds the rhythm of English together. Are you ready to explore how stress and rhythm come together to make your speech sound natural and powerful? Get ready to do that in today's class. So, first and foremost, what exactly is the concept of rhythm in speech? When we talk about rhythm in speech, what are we talking about? Rhythm in speech refers to the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables in spoken language. That is the pattern. How do we put stressed and unstressed syllable into a particular pattern when we speak? It gives speech, rhythm gives speech its natural flow and musicality. It makes our speech to appear meaningful and sensible. It makes it different from that of a baby. It has a particular flow. in accordance with whatever we want the listener to understand. Remember, we have a particular flow for questions, we have a particular flow for answers, for ordinary statements, and so on. So, reading helps to give that flow and communicate the intention of the speaker to the listener effectively. It gives speech its natural flow and musicality, helping listeners understand and follow the speaker more easily. And so, in simple terms, rhythm in speech is the pattern of sounds, that is, the beats we create whenever we speak. It is the flow of stressed and unstressed syllable, and just like music has beats that we tap our feet to, our speech has its pattern that listeners tune to. Without rhythm, speech would sound robotic or confusing. For example, if you say the sentence, I would like to go to the market. Now, I would like to go to the market could be said much more uh, better if we emphasize some words. For example, I would like to go to the market. I would like to go to the market. It's different from I would like to go to the market. Okay, so notice the alternation between strong and weak beats in the two sentences, and that is what we call rhythm. That is rhythm in action. In summary, we will define rhythm as the pattern of sounds and silences in speech. Where do we need to make a sound? Where do we need to be silent? Where do we need to communicate in a particular way to the listener? So, rhythm is the pattern of sounds and silences in speech. Two, it gives speech a musical quality that can enhance meaning. Just like I said earlier, reading helps us to give speech a musical quality, a musical flow that can enhance meaning, that can enhance communication. And three, understanding reading helps to improve communication effectiveness. It helps you to be effective, it helps you to be proactive in your speaking, and then the listener gets you in the right way. Types of reading. Actually, when we talk about reading, there are various types of reading, and understanding these various types of reading is essential for effective speech delivery. When you know the type of reading in which you want to communicate, it helps you to communicate better. Each type offers unique characteristics that can be strategically employed during communication. By recognizing these types, speakers can enhance their effectiveness and engage their audiences more practically and more deeply. So, first of all, we have the regular reading. Regular reading is one, a consistent pattern of sounds and silence. A consistent pattern of sounds and silence is what we refer to as regular reading. And when we talk about regular reading, we're talking about a very important type of reading that is used in almost every communication we make. Regular reading happens when there is a steady, predictable beat in our speech. That is, when the listener is listening to you, he is able to predict how you move next in your communication, almost like a tickling clock or a marching drum. Each stressed syllable comes at nearly equal intervals, and the speech sounds are even more patterned. In music, it's like a steady, regular beat. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. For example, if I say, I like to eat and drink and sleep and run. I like to eat and drink and sleep and run. You can feel the steady beats. I like to eat and drink and sleep and run, almost like as if you're marching. So this kind of reading can make speech easy to follow. But if it is too regular, it can sound mechanical or boring. In English, natural speech usually avoids being too perfectly regular. but it's still a good starting point for practicing timing and stress. So, when we talk about regular reading, we talk about a consistent pattern of sounds and silence in speech. Two, it is often used in poetry and speeches to create a predictable flow. You can always predict what your speaker is going to, how your speaker is going to speak next. And then regular reading also can enhance memorability and listener engagement. So that type of reading is a very, very important and common type of reading. Now let's look at irregular reading. Irregular reading means that the beats of your communication are not evenly spaced, they are not equal. The beats of your communication are not equal. Some stressed syllables come quickly after each other, while others take longer to arrive. So when we talk about irregular reading, it means that your speech, the movement of your speech is not evenly spaced, is not equal. There is more variation and it feels less like matching and more like natural conversation. Okay, so when you use the irregular reading, it is not your communication, the movement of your communication flow is not regular, and that is why we say it is irregular reading. So irregular reading features a varied pattern that can create surprise. This type of reading emphasizes certain points and keeps the audience engaged. It emphasizes some certain points and keeps the audience engaged. And three, it's often used in storytelling and persuasive speaking. When you want to use the irregular reading, you can use it in telling a story, and when you want to persuade someone. Okay, so the irregular reading is a type of reading that is different from the regular reading. Okay, so there is more variation and it feels less like matching and more like natural conversation. For example, I went to the market yesterday to buy some fruit. Listen carefully. I went to the market yesterday to buy some fruit. Notice the stressed words are not evenly spaced. For example, I is stressed, went is stressed, ma is stressed in market, and yesterday is also stressed, buy is stressed, fruit is also stressed. I went to the market yesterday to buy some fruit. So the stress words are not evenly spaced. Some come closer together, others have longer gaps. Irregular reading gives speech a more lively conversational feeling. It makes it more lively and not boring. It allows the speaker to speed up or slow down depending on what they want to emphasize. In English, true conversation is mostly irregular. If it is regular, it will be too monotonous and boring to the listener. So, true conversation is mostly irregular. That's why learning to manage stress and reading together is so important to avoid sounding robotic and unnatural. So, the irregular type of reading is the most common when we want to tell a story or when we want to speak persuasively to the listener. And so it makes our listening much more um, persuasive, much more interesting, and it sounds less monotonous when we make use of the irregular reading. Finally, let's talk about natural reading. When we talk about natural reading, we're talking about the reading that mimics the inherent flow of conversation. That is, reading that tries to mimic what the conversation is presently all about. So it also reflects the way people speak in everyday situations. Natural reading reflects the way people speak in everyday situations. And three, using a natural reading can help the speaker connect more authentically with the audience. So, what are we trying to say? When we use the natural reading, it is a perfect balance between the regular and the irregular reading. It's the way fluent English speakers speak naturally, the way they naturally stress and connect their words, making their speech sound smooth, expressive, and easy to listen to. Natural rhythm happens when content words, that is, nouns, main verbs, and adjectives, are stressed. Just as normal stress, how we stress content words, that is, nouns, main verbs, and adjectives. Natural rhythm makes use of it. Then, natural rhythm also does not stress function words such as articles, prepositions, and auxiliary verbs. They are usually unstressed and spoken quickly in natural rhythm. And there is a natural variation, that is, it is not uh, disturbing, it is not monotonous, it is not unnatural. So there is a natural variation in our speech. And so when we talk about the natural rhythm, we talk about that rhythm that is perfect. It is not too slow, it is not too fast, it is not too regular, it is not too irregular. It is just natural. For example, when we say she's going to visit a grandmother this weekend, in natural rhythm, you would say, she is going to visit a grandmother this weekend. She is going to visit a grandmother this weekend. The important words going, visit, grandmother, weekend get stressed, while the smaller words such as she's, to, she is, to, her, this are said slightly and quickly. So these are some of the things that you have to take note of when we are talking about the natural rhythm. The natural rhythm just talks about the the natural way of stressing words, how we stress content words and we do not stress function words. So natural rhythm also means adjusting your pace based on meaning. If you are excited, your reading might speed up. That is to show that you are excited. If you are serious or dramatic, you might have to slow down when you're serious or dramatic. So, in the flow of your speech, you slow down, but when you're excited, the flow of your speech it will speed up. Okay, can you get that difference? So, natural rhythm isn't perfectly regular and it's not completely irregular. What we are trying to say is that it's flexible based on the writer's mood, based on the writer's uh, present state when speaking. So natural rhythm is flexible, it is musical and meaning driven. So in short, in summary, regular reading is useful for practice. Irregular reading is closer to real conversation, while natural reading is the perfect type of reading. It is the goal sounding, fluent, expressive, and clear type of reading. So those types of reading helps us to understand reading very well and we can imbibe it when we are speaking in our everyday conversation. Now let us look at the importance of reading in speech. When we use reading very properly, it is a significant and effective element in effective communication as it aids in conveying messages clearly and engagingly. It plays a crucial role in shaping how the audience perceives and understands the information presented. By mastering reading, speakers can significantly improve their overall impact on the listeners. One of the most important aspects of reading it's that it helps the listener comprehend whatever the speaker is saying. So reading helps listeners follow the speaker's ideas more easily. A well-paced delivery can clarify complex information. Okay, when you want to make an information much more easier for the listeners, you make it well paced, you communicate it with a perfect rhythm. Engaging reading invites audience participation and attentiveness. So, one of the things that reading achieves in communication is that it helps the listeners to be able to understand the speaker because in most cases When you speak, they are able to predict and process your information more quickly. If you speak with poor reading, people may find it harder to understand you. Another important aspect of reading is that it helps the audience to convey emotion. The reading can enhance emotional expression during a speech. Yes, if you communicate effectively, it arouses the emotion of your listeners, and so they are much more engaged. They are much more engaged because it helps them to enjoy the interesting and pleasant aspects of whatever you're saying, and so it keeps your audience focused. Two, a well timed change in rhythm can evoke different feelings. It can evoke different feelings. When you're speaking in a particular way and then you quickly change, the listener quickly understands that your mood has changed from the previous one. So a well-timed change in rhythm can evoke different feelings. Three, emotionally charged rhythms can create a strong connection with the audience. And that is what we are talking about when we say that your rhythm conveys emotion. So when you are able to communicate and connect with your audience in or listener in a much more emotional way, it creates a strong connection between the speaker and the listener. Another importance of reading is that it improves memorability. Your audience is able to, or your listener is able to remember whatever you say perfectly when you use the correct rhythm. So, speeches with a strong rhythm are often more memorable for the audience. Two, patterns can help anchor key points in the listener's mind. When you use a good rhythmic pattern, you are able to anchor key points. Remember that we said that when you use that we can infuse rhythm and stress together. So the pattern of your rhythm can help anchor the key points that you want the listener to get. And three, rhythmic elements make the content more engaging and enjoyable. Just like in music, the musicality of your speech helps to make the content of your speech more engaging and enjoyable for your audience. So, when you speak and you create good meaning, you create good communication, you will be able to help your listeners to remember whatever you say very, very well, even after the conversation has ended. So, good reading is very, very important whenever we speak. Lastly, in today's class, let us look at how we can practically make use of reading in speech. Integrating reading into speech is essential for effective communication, and various strategies can be employed to enhance the rhythm of our speech and communication and create a more engaging delivery. Practicing these techniques allows speakers to captivate their audience and ensure their message resonates well with the audience. So, let us look at some tips that we can use to make our speech much more meaningful by using the correct reading, by applying it in everyday speech. One, practice stressing content words. Just like I said earlier, content words alone should be stressed when you are making use of stress. When you want to make use of stress in your speech, practice use stressing only content words. Remember, content words are nouns, main verbs, adjectives, and adverbs. Okay, so for example, if you say, I want to eat some pizza tonight, you have to emphasize only the content words. I want to eat some pizza tonight. I want to eat some pizza tonight. I want to eat some pizza tonight. Take note of the I want, eat, pizza, tonight. Those are the key words in that sentence, and other words should be on stress. So you have to make sure that your content words are stressed and your function words are reduced and made shorter. So functions words like prepositions, articles, and conjunctions should be said quickly and lightly. Then shadow native speakers. You have to copy the way native speakers speak, how they rush in between their content words, how they rush in between their function words and make sure that their content words are much more capitalized in their speech. Choose a short speech clip. There are so many speech clips on the internet. Choose a very short one, listen carefully to it, then repeat whatever they say, but also the rhythm, pauses, and intonation. Make sure you repeat the rhythm, the pauses, and the intonation, and see how you can uh, fit into whatever is said. See how much you can mimic whatever is said. Start slow, then build up to the native speaker's speed. Then, 4, tap or clap the rhythm. Another thing you have to do, tap or clap to the rhythm of whatever you're listening to. Physically clapping or tapping to the rhythm while speaking can help internalize the beat of the language. You can get the beats clearly to yourself whenever you're speaking. For example, say a sentence like, she sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashores. She sells sea she sells seashells by the seashore, and tap on the stressed words. Then you can also record yourself. You can record a paragraph and play it back. When you record a paragraph of a particular excerpt, play it back to yourself and see if stress words are prominent. When you play it back, ask yourself some questions. Are stress words prominent in this paragraph? Are unstressed words light and fast? Is the reading flowing naturally? And then you compare whatever you have said to the native speaker's version and adjust if need be. Adjust wherever you need to adjust. So these are some of the things that you can learn or do. You can practice in order to make sure that stress and reading are infused into your everyday conversation, even as a second learner, even as a second speaker of English. You know that English is our L2. It is not our native, it is not our native language as Nigerians. And so as a result of that, we have to make users to make sure that we consciously and consistently practice some of these things in order to get acquainted and get close to the native speakers' uh, characteristics in our everyday conversation. Let us quickly summarize today's lesson. Rhythm is the musical beat of your speech. Rhythm is the musical beat or pattern of your speech. It refers to the sounds and the silences in your speech. 2. It gives speech a musical quality that can enhance meaning and communication. 3. Understanding rhythm helps improve your communication effectiveness. Rhythm includes pace, pauses, and the emphasis placed on certain syllables or words. Okay, so, and we also talked about the types of rhythm. Remember, we talked about the regular rhythm, the irregular rhythm, and natural rhythm. We also talked about the importance of rhythm. We said that it aids understanding, it helps you to be able to engage your listeners effectively, it helps you to be able to uh, aid meaning, and it increases your fluency and the flow of your speech. Then the practical application is that you should focus on content words, shadow native speakers, mimic them whenever they speak, use physical movements like tapping, and record yourself and practice always. Record yourself and practice always. So, these are some of the things that we discussed in today's class. I hope you had a very wonderful time in today's class. Now, let us practice some why questions in order to get ourselves familiar with some questions that usually come up from everything we have learned in today's lesson. 1. What is rhythm in speech? A. The repetition of sounds at the end of words. B. The pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. C. The correct use of intonation. D. The speed at which a person talks. So you have to pick the correct answer in the options given. The answer to that question is option B. Remember, we said that rhythm is the pattern of stressed and stressed syllables, the flow of stressed and unstressed syllables in given sentences. Question 2. Which of the following best demonstrates rhythm in speech? Which of the following best demonstrates rhythm in speech? Emphasis on vowel sounds only, use of rising intonation, regular alternation of stressed and unstressed syllables, speaking very quickly. Emphasis on vowel sounds only, use of rising intonation. C. Regular alternation of stressed and unstressed syllables. D. Speaking very quickly. So, which of those clearly describe rhythm? The answer to that question is C. Option C. Regular alternation of stressed and unstressed syllable. Regular alternation of stressed and unstressed syllables. That is what we refer to as identifying rhythmic pattern. According to today's lesson, there are two answers to that question. That is option B and option C. It helps convey emotion. We said that reading helps convey emotion between the speaker and the listener. And C, it aids understanding and fluency. In the word photograph, which syllable carries the stress? Which syllable bears the stress in the word photograph? Is it the first syllable, the second syllable, the third syllable, or the last syllable? Remember that if you want to identify the stress in a given word, you break them into syllables. Photograph. So we have photograph. Which of the syllables has the stress? The correct answer to that question is in option A. Remember we said that the stressed syllable is usually longer and louder and more prominent than other syllables. So in the word photograph, you can see that the first syllable is louder. Photograph. It is louder and longer than other syllables. So our answer is option A. The first syllable is stressed. Question 5. In which sentence does the reading pattern follow natural spoken English? Remember, we have learned about natural reading. We have learned about regular reading and irregular reading. So you are to pick which sentence has the natural spoken English. 1. I am going to the market. 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 So, which of these speech sounds, which of these sentences follow the natural spoken English? The correct answer to that question is in option A, not option C. Correct answer to that question is in option A. Remember that we said that you should stress only content words and do not stress function words. I is a content word. Am is a content word. Going is a verb. And so the last part is stressed. Market. The first syllable in market is stressed. So we have to take note of that we should stress content words and we should not stress function words. So the function words, the content words have been stressed in the first sentence, and so that remains our answer. We have finally come to the end of today's speech class. I believe that you have learned a great deal in today's class and that you are going to practice and practice and practice again. You remember, speaking with good rhythm isn't about rushing, it's about knowing when to stress, when to lighten, and when to pause. Thank you for your attention. I will see you some other time. God bless you. Thank you. Bye.